Thanks. Glad to Mike's out.
Inside the house down there.
Oh, meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right, on the agenda, no, we're not gonna have minutes to approve tonight. We've got claims. I entertain a motion.
I was gonna make a motion to approve claims.
Second.
Oh, Julia?
Ron,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Was there addition to the agenda? Was Mallory gonna get put on here?
Yeah, that's corrections.
Yeah, that's community corrections.
Okay, she is on it.
I don't see her, but she gave me the.
I just right there. Right there.
Oh. Came in a few minutes later, okay.
So are you new business?
She's already on there.
Yeah, I know, but
Community corrections.
the first thing says appointment.
Right.
Are we there?
We're there. We have one applicant. Phil Shively.
Yeah.
He's
I don't see the B in his name.
Shively with a B.
Shively, okay.
With a
You
B.
entertain a motion?
I will.
I make a motion to appoint Phil Shively to the PTABOA board.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call.
on second.
Okay.
Ron,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
All right, next item is Country Club Road Bridge 111, contract supplement 2. Kevin, you want to say a few words on that one?
Yeah, so we went through the details on that. Basically, it's an additional $17,500. It's to accommodate additional changes that were made with regards to drainage to facilitate on-site water flow along Mr. Austin's property. It's also got in some right-of-way changes that had to happen in order to increase that, to allow for that change. It was with regards to money that needed to be allocated for right-of-way marking. And then there was some estimates there with regards to potentially needing to increase or potentially having changes if they had to occur at the beginning of the project with the not to exceed numbers that we have. The expectations on the two not to exceeds that we have listed there are not going to likely incur anything, but you can never tell with a project of this nature if something comes up.
Nice job on that, Kevin, going through all the details that you did.
We need to vote on that. We got signatures we gotta produce.
Yeah, you need a vote, please.
Motion?
I'll motion to approve the addendum or the supplement number 2.
Second.
Side consultants.
Roll call vote?
Ron,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Oh. Next item, bid openings on the jail AC units. Wow, this thing's been going on for over a year, probably. Yeah, Bill. Have questions?
Yeah, I just had a quick question since it's on that topic.
Did you come to the podium there and
Yeah.
state your name?
Sorry.
Sorry, I should have asked.
I'm Bill Austin. I'm a resident next to the aforementioned bridge. I just wanted to know if you guys, you sent me some literature, but I've been out of town. I didn't go through the whole package. I appreciate it. Do you have an estimate at all on time of completion or anything like that? Timing?
That'll be part of what comes with the bid package. So I can't say for sure.
Okay.
Right. Target is to try and start May.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll go from there. But as we should be able to at least a projection of a timeline come the bid openings. The bid openings will be on the 16th for that project this month, April. So, and that is the other thing which I'll mention since he's there and we're talking about this which was part of the updates. So that is today there was advertised the actual formal bidding process starting and packets are available to do that today.
Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Thanks for your questions. Okay. Now the openings, bid openings from June.
You do it, Mr. President.
Wait, loves doing.
Yeah, there's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. First bid, Circle R Mechanical Contractors. Base bid, 1,088,000 even. Next bid, Harold Fish Inc. Base bid, $1,040,000, $1,040,040. If I pronounce that right.
Do that price again, here, 140.
1,040, comma, 040.00.
Thank you.
Okay, third bid. Cook Mechanical, was it Cook or Coke? Cook's or Coke? Coke Mechanical Inc. Base bid, $949,400.
Fine, please.
949,400.
Can I ask a couple of quick questions?
Yes.
Josh? It's too much information to go through in this meeting, but when you go through that, can you get back to me? And, because the last time we did this, from what I'm remembering is, we had an offer on it, but we never really bid it out or anything. And what I'm thinking back then was the crane to set the units wasn't included. And I want to think the removal may have not been included, the disposal. Another thing was there was startup fees for each unit. I don't know if all that is included in there or that's going to be an expense on top of it.
Yeah, I will review and see if anything sticks out, but in general, all those should be part of this. So you can start up demo, install, rate and everything, but I'll review and then when we put together the bid recommendation, if you have any questions, we can chat about it, see, make sure everything's there. And I'll probably reach out to the contractors just to make sure they have everything covered.
It's okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Okay. Next item. And agenda. Both centers. Folks, let me give you a little background on both centers. We express our support for the election board offering the vote center option voters. We declined to support a resolution by the commissioners. Let me give you a little history. This topic was introduced at our January 22nd meeting. We had presentations, positions for and against vote centers. Brown County League of Women Voters provided additional information on the vote centers, all the ins and the outs. Again, all this information, the detail was covered in the minutes. It's on the audio. In February, the commissioners had another meeting. We reinforced our support for considering the vote center option, and we declined to support a resolution before the election board submits the final approval for the plan. At their March 11, 2025 meeting, the election board requested the commissioners, the council vote on a resolution of support to include that a commissioner serve on a study committee before the election board would proceed with moving forward with the vote center option. While it's true that the commissioners can adopt a resolution before seeing the plan, it would take final control away from the commissioners from ensuring the plan's feasibility. A commissioner serving on the working group and developing the plan undermines the independence and objectivity needed to ensure the voters that the plan represents the best solution for the county. The steps needed to transition vote centers include the following. Per IC 3-11 through 18, 1-3. The county election board must submit to the state election division 4 items to become a vote center county. the adopted vote center plan, an order by the county election board approving the vote center plan, a resolution adopted by the commissioners approving the designation of the county as a vote center county, and 4, a resolution adopted by the council approving the designation of the county as a vote center county. The statute does not list an order that these 4 need to be accomplished, except that the county election board can only pass an order approving the voter center plan after the plan has been discussed in a public hearing. The vote center plan has several requirements per IC 311-18-1-4. These requirements are used to show the feasibility of the county operating vote centers. For example, software use, locations, equipment, etc. If the resolutions are passed before the plan is drafted, then the county election board will have final say through their order on how the plan should be drafted before submitting it to the state election division. Therefore, the commissioners have chosen to hold off on passing a resolution until the county election board drafts the plan so that they can ensure that being designated a vote center county is what is in the best interest for Brown County. That's the statements in writing that we covered at our meetings. I just want to reinforce that and kind of a memorandum for the record. So any discussions among the commissioners here?
I'm good with the state.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to reinforce our position and we'll sign our document.
I'll make a motion to go with our position.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Yep, yes.
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Last item on the agenda, community corrections, Mallory?
Good afternoon. Every year, Community Corrections submits grants to the Indiana Department of Correction for funding to support our agency. These grants have been applied for and awarded since 1986. And every year the grants require the community corrections agencies to receive letters of support from the commissioners. I had sent an email earlier this week with a copy of that letter of support and all the drafts of the grants and proposed budgets for the grant applications. I also sent you guys the annual report for 2024 as well for your review. So I also sent a draft of a form letter that I have for you guys to sign. So if I would request that the commissioner sign that today, so that way I can submit my grants next week.
Okay. Folks, here's the packet. Mallory, appreciate all the additional detail. I got to skim through and get a little history lesson. Don't ask me any quiz questions, but I think I got the gist.
Yep.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate the cover and appreciate the draft of the letter. Any discussion?
Yeah. Julie,
mm-hmm,
is this the same thing we vote on every year and you've seen all this and you're good with it?
mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody else?
I've just got, so the only 2 grants that this is just a continuation, right? The 2 grants with regards to work release and community supervision.
Correct, yes. In the years prior, we have applied for a pretrial grant and a jail treatment services grant. And those have not been awarded as IDOC does not have much funds to award at this point. They're pretty maxed out on the funds that they have to award. So the judge also applies for a pretrial grant through the Indiana Office of Court Services, which she will be doing this year as well, which is where we've received funding for the pretrial services position.
And so when I went through this documentation, is the grant, the majority or much of the grant money that you're receiving, just so the audience knows, goes towards salaries and those things of nature with regards to personnel that you keep in the probation office, correct?
Correct. Since the beginning of community corrections in 1986, we've received no money from the county. In terms of funding, we are self-funded by grants and also from fees that we collect from our participants. So the grant primarily covers majority of our day-to-day operations, our salaries of our employees. And then we supplement with our project income fund, which is funds that we collect from participants of our programs.
And working in the work release program is something that has increased over I think you had 2 additional or more involved in work release. Meaning actually from jail to facility back. Is
So,
how that-
yeah, work release is a program that we have, and we have a memorandum of understanding with the sheriff, where people can go instead of being incarcerated in the Brown County Jail and just sitting there, the judge awards them the opportunity, if they're deemed eligible, to be released, to go work, to provide, to get an income, to still be able to support their families, and to kind of get a foundation and a, kind of get financially stable before they are released. And we have increased our work release fees this past year. And so for every day that someone's on work release, we reimburse the jail $5 a day for those people. So that way they are not out with that money, because they do house our people.
Okay. Right. And I think the only thing that was amazed by that is that you actually have or actually are accumulating from your actual activities associated with this, increasing your funds that you're being able to set aside, right?
Yes, so over the last couple of years, we've been very stingy in approval with our spending when it comes to our project income, because that is our rainy day fund. That is, if DOC decides to cut funding, that's what we have to fall back on, and it's not unlimited. We currently have a good portion of funds in that, but that's every year. I have to go down to the auditor's office and say, hey, it's usually in September, October, usually I have to go down and say, okay, we need to switch all our salaries to our project income. So we're spending a good portion of our funds out of our project income, but we are consistently collecting money to hopefully not drain that fund completely.
And it's for staff right now, right?
Correct.
Great, good follow-up question.
Thank you.
Valerie, thanks for the additional explanation. Good job down there. Appreciate everything you guys do down there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ron, did you have a question?
I think I'm good if you entertain a motion.
I do. Well,
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve Mallory's grants, the same repeating grants each year. How many years have we been doing this?
Since 1986.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
okay, roll call vote.
Ron,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes. Thank you, Mallory.
Hey, Mallory, just so everybody knows, you never had to run me through none of those, right?
No.
Thank you.
Still time, Ron.
Anything's possible.
Okay, we're not gonna have an update from our admin. We'll skip that. Highway, Kevin, you're gonna cover that one?
As soon as I find it. Thank you. So basically, the reason Mr. Burton is not here right now is preparing for the weather that we're gonna have inclement here. He's actually moving equipment in and putting it under shelter at the fairgrounds. Make sure that we don't have a bunch of dented and damaged equipment from the storms that are proceeding forth. They have actually been going and continuing to haul and stockpile stone and sand. Actually, it's more along the lines of stone. There have been activity related to gravel. The biggest thing that came forth in today's update was the bid document or bid opening for the bridge replacement on Country Club Road. And I'll reiterate that the bid opening for that should be the 16th, which is our second meeting this month. And that will be a 6 o'clock meeting. They have actually with the, I think we mentioned in earlier meetings with regards to the damaged truck that we had and the insurance claims that we had, they've actually been pulling off several parts to the tune of radiators, brakes, wheels. So that machine is already being used to go and keep up the 2 existing trucks that we have on site. And then he is basically stockpiling and putting off parts that are relevant that we're going to be able to use as well later on. The focus Eric is looking at, he's still doing cost estimates with regards to the paving. We don't know exactly what we have as far as available funds in that, since we're not using CCMG money this year. The roads that are being looked at in the priority is Grandview Road, 400 and Sawmill. Those seem to be that, I've been on that road. It needs attention. And obviously there are other areas that need attention, but that's where he's focusing on putting the next spend of money in paving. So, any other questions?
Those are the 2 Mack trucks still in existence.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Correct. All right, that's it.
Old business.
Motor?
Mike, join us. Hey, Mike, I appreciate in advance all the help you provide us on the vote center and looking into the details and giving us some advice on that.
Will you take any public comment?
Sure, after this one, if you don't mind. Mike, any comments?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the appreciation there, Tim. And but no additional comments.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, Dean Patrick. I live here in town in Nashville. And I didn't get a chance to jump in earlier because you guys went so doggone fast today. As commissioners, one of the things that you do is appoint members to specific boards like the PTABOA board. And a year ago, interested people were required to be at a commissioners meeting and stand up and say why they wanted to be on a specific board and what their qualifications were. And we all know that that did not happen this past December, and several appointments were made. What about commissioner appointments that you inherit? How do you determine if, say, somebody's been serving on a board for 2 years out of a 4-year term, that that person should stay in that position? So if that position rolls around, it's open, and you three are the ones that need to make that decision, do you have a process that, I mean, as a public member, I'm not aware, but there's a process of what do you do? What do you look at to determine whether the person should be put back on a board? So do you have a check-in balance process, or do you meet with any of your appointees or your inherited appointees to determine if in fact they understand the job they are doing? Do they need to be better educated? And is there going to be a better process or a different process in the future so that, and say Phil Schuyler, I know Phil, he's perfect for that board, but that somebody like Phil come in front of what little public is here today and say, here's who I am, here's how long I've been doing this in Brown County. So I guess that's my question. And then how are we going to do these appointments in the future? And what do we do about inherited appointments, and how are you reviewing whether or not they are up to speed on what they really should be doing? Thank you.
Funny you should mention that. We had those kind of questions when we first, in January. We have a list of all the, most of, if not most of the boards and appointments. We have a list who's appointed, when they were appointed, and who they were appointed by. What we don't have, and Kevin did some phenomenal work on this one, is actually identifying the different boards to the statutes that identify specifically what they do and don't do. And also missing as a gap, as you pointed out, and I've noticed also over the years, is there's really no, there hasn't been any set schedule for review by boards. Some do, some give us updates throughout the year, but we don't really have a schedule on all the boards and appointments to come back and say, hey, what was an annual report or an annual review or periodic check-in? So that's a hole in the system, and we're addressing and identifying those gaps in SOP. And yeah, this year was pretty chaotic. The policies on appointments have varied over the years. I know the council always likes to have somebody there, but since there was hit and miss and some appointments were made by the previous commissioners, it's kind of chaotic. And so we relied on reaching out outside to talking to people. We had to go out and recruit people. We didn't get a whole lot of nomination. So that whole process is kind of ripe for refinement. It's on our list as a priority. We really want to know, really give the accomplishments of all the different boards. That represents a lot of volunteers doing a lot of good work. And we never really identify, gee whiz, here's what they did for the year, and recognize those successes and accomplishments, and gee whiz, what do you need from the commissioners the next time around. The appointments are a little different. I mean, once somebody's appointed, we really don't have much control over their appointment on how they're doing. Some appointments, for some folks aren't doing the jobs, we really can't remove anybody. And some that's without cause. There has to be a pretty good reason, and that I don't recall that ever happening here. And then the others, it's like I said, they're generally, they're in. So there's different things going on. Legislature to kind of address that. But overall, I mean, all the points you mentioned, we covered, we discussed. We were frustrated by the entire process. Some you need bonds, some you don't. Some need an oath of office notarized, some you don't. So it was really kind of an active discovery for us, and kind of chaotic. So we're addressing it. It's not, we're going to have a much better process next year. Trust me, that was very frustrating for all of us. We spent a lot of time trying to struggle through that process and figure out who's doing what. So we're fixing that. So next year will be different. So hold us accountable. Okay, you're welcome. Thanks for the question.
The only thing I'd like to add to that is, as far as the appointment today that I made the motion on, with Phil Scheidler. Okay. He's been a realtor here in Brown County for, I know, 20+ years since I've been around government, and I felt very comfortable making that appointment. He's a very busy person. He has multiple people that work with him, so I was comfortable with that decision today. As far as the rest of them, hey, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah. And then on Phil, we always run that by Mary Miller. She identifies what she wants. We have 3 people on that board. We can go to 5, but we generally never had the volunteers to do it or the people that qualified. There's waivers, but then, you know, there's problems with waivers and expecting somebody to get the training certifications they need. So we got 3, and again, Mary's involved and she chops off on these. Well, we're not going to appoint anybody without having the feedback from the folks on the board. So we do that behind the scenes. So thank you. Thanks again.
Before I make a motion to adjourn, is there anybody else here that has anything they want to say?
I wanted to add something.
Okay.
Only because normally when we do these meetings, like we get a report from the highway department, but we don't really get the opportunity to comment as a public. And you know, Tim, at one of the recent meetings, you know, you had gone over the numbers and I had concerns about, you know, how far that department was in the red. And there've been a lot of changes. No one is in the office anymore on Fridays. In past years, we've always had somebody in the office on Fridays. I've noticed that people can't comment on their Facebook page anymore, but we do have a form. I'm not sure that the public is aware that you can get online and report an issue with the road. I only say this because in prior years, the department heads we've had there have spent a lot of time driving around in the community and monitoring road conditions. The job that I have requires me to be in the community a lot. I may be on the north side, south side, east side, west side on any given day of the week. Last week, they did get gravel down on Hardin Holler. That is a gravel road. Brown County Stone's out there if you're not familiar with that road. But I noticed it was great when I pulled on and saw that gravel was on it because it was like a mud road. I thought it was the 1800s again. But the gravel's great, but the problem is you had mentioned, Kevin, that, you know, they're preparing for a storm, which means we're going to get a lot more rain. And there is some major erosion going on right now. It's now to the center of the road where the road is about to buckle underneath. And I just would like to see a little more presence in the community on monitoring those roads. I'm really not sure how whoever put the gravel down didn't happen to mention that there's erosion and the road is about to give way. But I would expect it to be in a lot more worse condition by tomorrow if we get the type of precipitation we have with this last storm. So I just wanted to make you guys aware I can only do so much on submitting so many of those forms and on the online government site. And it does only allow you to upload 1 picture. So I'm just putting in a good word for Grandview on that paving thing because it's not a patching job anymore. We're thinking we might put up some basement walls on some of them. They're larger than the size of my car at this point. And that road did get half done years ago, but it would be nice if they could finish it out towards the gravel there. Our house is the bus turnaround. So it is important for safety reasons that the bus isn't bouncing all over the place out there.
Can I clear up something?
Yeah.
Did I mishear you that you said that the highway was in the red or the county's in the red?
Well, there were several areas in the red, but the highway department stuck out with me. I know it was over I think it was 1.4. I'd have to pull up the.
No, they're fine.
So,
They've got 40,000 surplus and
I thought they carried 40 over. That's why I was questioning it. But yeah, the county did have some issues because the reason the issues were the, what do you call it? Additional appropriations didn't get approved in time.
Yeah.
So there probably is a deficit, but if that would have been taken care of, but.
yeah, and we like to hear what community corrections said, you know, that rainy day fund and holding on to it for dear life. I mean, if we could do that across the board with all of our department, you know, we'd be a lot less fearful, you know.
well,
But we've had that conversation before at other meetings, so.
I'm working on it. It's like, I kind of mentioned that. I just give everyone the heads up. we're going to stay flex on the numbers and we're working with it. That's why we have a financial consultant. And we're really digging in. A priority for me is to have that budget management plan, that we have that goal in place and we work to do that. And
Yeah, and I know you're working on SOPs as well, and,
yeah,
you know, we do have a lot of people that are older in this county that aren't the greatest at computer stuff, guys. And, you know, they've not put on the county department site of how you can report a road issue. And with us now losing another day of somebody being in the office, there's only so much Sandra can do. And there's only so many people that even know that form for submitting a road issue is on there.
okay.
So it would be nice to see that added to the SOP and maybe them doing a little bit of advertising on their Facebook page saying, you know, like screenshots, hey guys, you know, here's the online form if that's easier for you than calling in. That way you can submit that form on Friday when
Okay.
office isn't open.
Appreciate it. Because I've got a lot of questions. I get a lot of messaging on the roads and gravel roads this year.
Yeah.
So weather put us in a way that kind of challenged our process.
Yeah.
And so, and Kevin started working on putting a presentation with Eric, starting to put in a presentation, give people an overview on what that looks like. I mean, the condition of the paved roads, we got 400 miles of roads, half of them are paved. We've got ratings on those paved roads. There's not such a thing on the gravel roads yet, so we have to figure out how do we do that.
Here's the road guys, if you.
Yeah, I trust
See
you.
how bad it is, Kevin.
I've seen it.
So we
Yeah.
see them. And then when they do
I've
the
been out there
planning,
with Trent Shutters.
so
Yeah, it's,
we're aware of the challenges, and
Yeah.
again, my thing is put a systemic improvement in and keep people educated and.
The ducks that live over there are loving it because the water's just going right in
Yeah,
there,
I
but
understand.
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you for
Yeah,
bringing
you're
it up,
welcome.
and
Thank you.
especially on the forum, thanks.
Just for the record, I think a couple of years ago when I come in here, Julia, feel free to set me straight. I think the rainy day fund had got down to about 60,000 or something, and I think it's up to like $250,000.
That's also correct.
And I think that if that money comes in from the music center, even though it's like 18,000, is that designated to go in the rainy day fund? Or it was at one time, but is there something?
We put, what we found out was the money that they bring in needs to go into the general fund.
Okay,
Now, so it cannot go back into the rainy fund anymore.
okay. Well, it's in a lot better shape than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it is.
So we're trying, folks.
Working on it.
Make it work. I'll make a motion to adjourn unless somebody else got something.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion accepted.
Yes,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. Hey, be safe tonight. I expect a lot of flooding conditions, so we kind of well know what that's gonna look like, so take care.
Now by signing this, I think I'm not interested.
That's great.